I think I'd said earlier on in the week that this is a unique challenge, and it certainly always turns out to be one of the utmost competitive games, and it was exactly that. You've got to have a certain mindset. You've got to attack the game in a certain way, and the guys very much mentally were tuned in and focused as to what type of game that was going to be. It's not always pretty, but as you can tell, and as you've seen from the games against them in previous years, that if you try and overplay, if you're too elaborate, they feed off of that. It's what they're about. And I thought the guys were terrific, competitive, intense, in the moments that, were available to us. I thought the guys at least tried to put themselves in a position where we could be more constructive, but all in all, not many opportunities. A terrific point on the road and a clean sheet, of course, to take back with us. And it gives us an opportunity to start forming these foundations early on in the season.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open the floor for questions. Please alert me through the chat if you have a question for Coach or any of the players who will be coming after him. We'll kick it off with Tim Sullivan.
Hey, Gary, it seemed like you guys were, I don't want to say forced necessarily, but you kind of played Red Bull at their own game a lot, trying to win the second balls and play a little bit longer. Did you feel that was an effective strategy for you? Do you feel like that was kind of the way that it played out was, the way that was, I guess, most effective for you guys over the course of the 90 minutes there?
Well, look, Tim, make no mistake here. I'm not going to be able to dress this up. It's not pretty here. It's not. And as much as we all want to talk about, playing like last week and creating chances and being free-flowing and looking bright and purposeful and, all of the pretty things in the game, to a large degree, we were last week. You've really got to look at this game in a completely different manner. It's been hugely successful for Red Bull in the way that, they've set themselves up and what they've achieved over the years, certainly the last 5, 6, 7 years here. And it's not easy. They thrive on teams that are too ponderous, too slow, try and overplay, want to be too elaborate, and don't compete. Forget that they've got to find a physical level with their opponent. They've won the battle then. And we needed to show them that we were capable of meeting that challenge. We did it. The guys worked tirelessly throughout the game to make sure that there was, a tremendous amount of pressure on their play as well. And in the fleeting moments that were available for either team, both sides tried their best, I think, to offer a more creative look and a more thoughtful manner. But it doesn't happen very often against this group. Multiple fouls, multiple stoppages. People don't get away because they get pulled over and the game stopped. It's all part of their plan. So to come here and get a point, I'm very, very pleased.
We'll continue with Ray Hills.
Gary, do you feel like the chances that you guys did have were maybe par for the course? Were they less than what you expected, maybe more than what you expected, given that the physicality and the way that Red Bulls wanted to play? Especially in that first half, it seemed like Fafa was in, Schaffelberg had gotten a chance from Teal, Dax was on the end with Moore and Pico's combination. Do you feel like that it was par for the course in terms of what you guys did, although no shots on goal?
I wasn't expecting a game that replicated what we saw last week in any way, shape or form. So I think you're talking to somebody obviously who's mentally in tune with what we were going to run into. I've seen Red Bull a lot. I've watched them leading into this game. And you guys are obviously thinking about last week and the enjoyment and the excitement and the free-flowing football that we saw. And hopefully we'll see that again next week. So you've got to put that out of your mind. That was never going to happen. It is very, very difficult to do that here. There'll be few teams that, if they do that, will be successful. So to your point, Drake, it was probably how I thought the game was going to unfold. Both sides had some half chances. They probably had one or two of the more clearer sights to goal. However, I will point to the fact that the goal itself that we scored, I'm led to believe, was marginal, and there wasn't a clear-cut angle, if I'm being told the right thing and given the right information. So we don't even know if it was offside. There were 2 or 3 situations in the latter stages of the game. One, you may be able to tell me whether or not Walker was actually fouled inside the box. I've got to say, from where I was, it looked like he tried to turn, it went through his legs. It probably wasn't something he meant to do, which caught him and the defenders by surprise, and he gets dragged down. Is that a penalty? In most games that I've seen, in real time, that's a penalty kick. So, I think we've also been a little bit hard done by today. We've not had the luck or the fortune that we might have had. And to that degree, you've got to show even greater fortitude to come away with a point and keep a clean sheet when, there are other external factors that can make you very, very frustrated, of course.
We knew it was going to be a pretty chaotic game. They're a team that likes to press high. They have a lot of energy. We knew it was going to be cold. The field wasn't in great condition, so we knew it was going to be a dogfight. So we kind of tried to embrace that and fight fire with fire, so to speak. At the end of the day, we want to win every game and come away with 3 points. But in this instance, we'll take 1 and a clean sheet.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to open the room for questions. Team, go ahead.
Yeah, Joe, you didn't face a ton of shots, but it seemed like the 2 or 3 shots on target that you did face were some pretty impressive chances. I know you've said in the past that you kind of like to see a little bit more action so you feel, involved in the game and kind of warm when those shots do come. What is it like when the chances are few and far between, but they end up being pretty dangerous ones that you ultimately do end up saving?
Yeah, it can be a little difficult sometimes. For me, the biggest thing is just staying focused. When there's not a lot of action or a lot of shots in that case, you have to find other ways to keep yourself activated and keep yourself mentally tuned in. Personally, I like to just scream and yell at teammates, whether it's the most mundane thing or, whether it's actually good information. Just the more I talk, the more I stay engaged in what's going on. And so I try to do that as much as possible in games where I'm not seeing as much action.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Team, go ahead. Final question.
Okay. You mentioned that it can be a chaotic game when you play these guys, but not a ton of teams do come to Red Bull Arena and shut them out. So especially on the heels of last week's performance, how proud or excited are you to start the season 4 points in 2 games and come back to Geodis Park with a positive result, if not exactly the one you guys were looking for?
Yeah, like I said, we wanted to come away with 3 points, but at the end of the day, we'll take the 1. Keeping the clean sheet is something that has been a staple for our team since we came into the league. So we're always proud of that, and I think we set a pretty high standard for ourselves this year within the group and within the locker room. So doing what we can to win every game, but trying to find positives in the games that we don't win. So like I said, keeping a clean sheet is great, and that'll give us confidence moving forward. But at the end of the day, we're still thinking about opportunities missed and chances in the game that we could have turned it around and gotten 3 points.